Hi there. What I have is the Sundolphin Aruba 12 SS kayak, 12 foot long. And if you'll notice, looking at it right from this angle, you will see that it has two fishing rod holders right behind the seat. Now, if you want to go out and spend $200 more, you can get the excursion model, which is 12 feet long, looks exactly the same with the exception of the color. It has one little addition, and that would be a rod holder mounted right in front of the glove box into the cockpit, right where that little emblem is, right there. And it's a little swivel mount for your fishing rod holder, and that alone, plus the fact that you would get it in olive drab or khaki, might cost you a couple $100 more. So why go out and spend that money when you can get this model? If you're searching, you're not going to see it under the fishing model category at the Sundolphin website. You will see it, however, at the recreational model portion of their website, and this is a pretty good deal for the money. Now, I'll show you a little bit about it. We'll start at the bow here, and we'll work our way back. Let me just give it a quick walk around first here. You can see the profile of it. It sits rather well. The front of it is higher. In the middle, the cockpit area is slightly lower, and then again in the back, I believe it is a little higher. My driveway is a little slanted here, but and that's the way the profile is. Now, first off, we'll start up here. The material. This is what I wanted to know about the material. The material of these kayaks, just like Old Town or Heritage or Pelican or Dagger, they're all made of polyethylene. All right. Now, the way they make it is probably the only big difference, and that is their own little individual styling and the fact that some of them are roto molded, which means they spin it around in a hot mold and the plastic goes in that way, versus taking it and putting it together, which is what they did here. And I will show you that before I go backwards. So let me grab the edge, because I never see the bottom side of these kayaks in any videos. So let me show you what we got here. First, I'll show you the edge. Now, as you'll see underneath here, it's just an edge there. That's it. It's solid. There is visibly where they probably vulcanized the top portion and the bottom portion together. They probably put it in two different molds, put it together with a hot machine, whoosh, bingo, you're together. It's not coming apart. This thing is solid all the way around, okay? So don't have any reservations about that. That's not going to matter. It's solid, okay? It's thick. It's about as thick as every material in the kayaks that I own. I have an Old Town, and it feels like it's about as thick. All right. Now, the bottom of it is what I wanted to see. And you'll notice right away, it almost kind of looks like a canoe. All right. In fact, I think it looks more like a canoe on the bottom than it does a kayak. If you were just seeing this in someone's yard, you might think right now, geez, that looks like a canoe. And you'd be right. But does it ride like a kayak? I'm guessing because you're sitting down low, it does. I've seen videos of people running them, using them, etc. I personally have not used this yet. I just received it. So I'm showing you the angle of it. On a lot of kayaks, this part here will extend outward down into the water rather than upward and into the boat. And that's where these grooves come in. And I believe it'll give you stability. It's going to give you a good line. That's the front of the boat up in there. We're at the stern right here, so roll it over. Okay. Now, hatch there. Start at the tip. You have a plug here. All right. And you can unscrew it. And it won't come out unless you pinch it together. This way you won't lose it. You can pinch it and pull it out. All right. You dump your water out. Now, there is a bulkhead between the cockpit and this container, so that it's a dry area up in here essentially. If you flip it, this will pretty much stay full of air and dry as long as that seal is closed. So that's good, but you will eventually get condensation in here and possibly water depending on what you're doing and how you're doing it. So keep that in mind. That's why they have a plug here. If it does fill up, you drain it out, tip it up, let the water come out. The handle's on the top, so it doesn't drag down in the water when you're running. This is the front of it. It's got a good line. It looks like it's got a good profile all the way down. All right. You got the bungee cords. They come off. They unhook like that. You'll see that. Let me try to get it a little better here. All of them unlatch. You just crisscross them. They can easily stuff things in and around here. All right. Now this latch here, I didn't measure it, but I'm guessing it's around 6 inches or so. It's like a quarter turn and it comes out. It's a hard, shiny plastic. You can almost tell by hearing it what it is. Now inside, I've heard from other people that their shavings from when they carve out the holes and they trim a little extra plastic away. They leave the shavings in the boat because what the heck? You're paying not that much for a kayak, and I guess they're giving it to you the way it is. So let me see if I can get the camera down in here. It's going to probably get a little wonky, but before I do, let's see if you can even see. There we go, shavings. There's a pile of these things in my kayak here in the front. That's fine. I'll just wipe them all out of there. I'll see if I can show you the bulkhead. And as you can see, it goes, I'll try to get it here. Goes around the entire hull of the boat. All right, so it's sealed up well, and it goes all the way to the front. All right, so there's that. So this is a sealed compartment. I tried to move that piece of foam from inside the cockpit, and it did not budge. Now, one thing about this latch, they put a little emblem here, you know, unlock, and over here they got one that says lock, and there's this tiny little arrow, like, oh my gosh, I better put it over here. Well, you don't have to do that. You can put it anywhere. As long as it'll fit down in here, give it a quarter turn clockwise, it's locked. It's on there. So I believe it'll be fairly solid. The seal is right there. It's not that great of a seal. So I'd say if you really had this thing upside down for any length of time or sideways in the water, it'd probably get a little water in there. Now you can see this is kind of raised up in here. All right. Now your feet don't go this far. This is where the bulkhead is. Your feet only go up to about in here somewhere. All right. So let me show you that next. As we get down in here, we're going to look down and you'll see it again from this angle. All right, now you can see the foot pegs there. That's easy enough to understand. You just grab, you pinch. There's a little tab on the back side. You pinch it with the pedal, and you can just slide it forward. And you can do the same. You can go back down in there. Plenty. I'm 6 feet tall. I sat in here, and there's tons of room. All right. Now these foam knee pads are great, but they're actually adhesive backing on the underside here, and these were both kind of down. I just bent them up with my hand, and they're sticking just fine. As far as the top section goes, they're right there. They're not going. The seat was a little crooked. It looked weird, and part of the reason was they pack it with foam. There was a foam block here, and it was partially not centered on here. And what happened was the seat looks a little crooked, so I just pushed it way in the back. It's somehow now in the back of the boat here. But as for the seat itself, hard material on the back side, firm but durable feel, somewhat soft, better than hard plastic feel. Do it right there. You have a couple of straps. Oh my gosh, put my hand on the camera. Well, anyway, this strap, one side, that strap, another side. Rod holders, you got two. They both extend outward so that when you're fishing and trolling, your poles aren't going to interact, and you could probably just get away with just sticking your poles in there and floating around in the water, no problem. I don't think they're going to tangle up. And also, in the bottom of each one, I don't know if you can see down in there or not, there's a cap at the end of the tube here. Anyway, this is not a clean hole into the hull. It stops. Let me, I have a flashlight here. Let me see if I can shine it down in there. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, see, you'll see at the bottom there, there's a cap. So if for any reason you get water on the outside of your kayak, it's not going to sink because these holes are here. That's nice to know. All right. On the back, in the stern here, we have another plug. Does exactly the same thing as the front. Just turn it, pull it out, same thing. Handles in there, and it's also kind of held in place with a little thing here to keep it attached to this bungee cord, which keeps that in play. Now you cannot adjust this seat up or down for the thighs like in some of the more expensive models. It's pretty much down in there. Mine looked a little crooked when I got it, and it's because there's 2 screws here, and this one popped through. So it's a little crooked. I'm going to address that issue. I don't think it's that major. Some people really freak out and they want to return it. Whatever. I'm going to look at it before I do anything. This here, the model I looked at had a button, and it clicked and it came open. Now this one has essentially a flap and a bungee. Now it sits a little weird. It's not what I would say is bad. It's, you know, molded plastic. It looks like it's hitting here, barely hitting there. And if I go like that, it goes down in there. If I give it a good push, I don't really like that, to be honest with you. I think they screwed up or they didn't trim this plastic enough. Because it does hit right here and right there. Now you can bungee cord it with that. It's going to stay shut. Maybe that was their intention all along. I don't know. But I put this phone, which is an LG V20, in here. It goes flat here, hits there, it kind of wonky. You got to get it just pancake flat, and it fit with the case on the LG, and then I could close it. So you could put a phone in here, anything smaller than an LG V20. You can put an iPhone, maybe a couple other things, fishing gear in here, whatever you want. That'll work. So this is still okay the way it is. It's even when it closes, so maybe it's supposed to stop right like that on both sides. I really don't know. The cup holder is essentially useless. I don't think I'll ever use it. It's tipped outward away from the seat currently, and it's pretty small. I wouldn't even think it would be deep enough to hold a bottle of water. It might be good enough to hold a couple of Tic Tacs or something. I don't know. Anyways, on the back side here, we have this compartment. So let's show you this. You take the straps off all the way around. They just pop off. And once you do that, you can just lift this out. You have that. Now you can go out on the water all day long with it, just like that. You simply just, put these bungee cords back on, and you get a crisscross pattern and store your gear in there. You could put a cooler in there or a fishing tackle, whatever you want, and leave this thing here at home. Or you can essentially tow it behind you because it does float, as long as that lid is nice and tight. Now this is the bottom of it. It's a thinner plastic, but it is a solid seal. It doesn't look like it would be a problem in the water. It is bigger. It's probably about an 8-inch opening. I don't think you can put your kayak cart tires in here because I just don't think it's deep enough. So if you have a cart to haul your kayak in, again, the hard plastic lid, barely decent hard rubber seal here, and that's that. Again, those funky little lock icons, whatever. Anyway, you can take this, throw it in here, and you can see this tiny little plug there. That has to be pried out. I'm not even sure I would need to pry that out, but it's there. I'd flip the kayak over before prying that thing out. You put this back in, and on some videos I've seen, when you look, it just looks like it wants to pop out in one corner or another. I've seen pictures of these where, this edge is maybe a little bit weird, and you say, well, why isn't that in there right? Well, it's a snug fit all the way around, and I don't know, maybe heat, maybe temperature has to do with it. I don't know, but it's maybe the way they molded it. But even still, it's not that big a deal unless you're an absolute perfectionist. It's not going to bother me. So there it is, the Sundolphin Aruba 12SS 12 feet long. As I said, I am 6 feet tall. I could get in and out of this thing, no problem. My knees perfectly come in contact with those pads, and you could very easily have more or less leg room on those foot pads if you wanted, just by adjusting them like I showed you. So that's it. I'm going to give it a test on the water to be sure that all the other little reviews I've seen are fairly accurate, and then I'll kind of maybe post that video at some point in the future. Anyway, oh, you also get this cheap paddle. Trust me, it might be good to get out and do it for the first time ever, but I have other kayak paddles and other kayaks, so that paddle is probably never going to leave the plastic bag. It just doesn't have the angle and the bite that I want for when I go out. So anyway, it's an affordable kayak, well-made, polyurethane. Like I said, it's the same type of material as all the major brands out there, and its thickness is marginally the same. I would not bet that it's exactly the same as many manufacturers, but the thickness is right up there. It's not thin. It's got a good thick feel to it. This is probably a little bit thinner because it's not the hull, although it is hard to tell. But these edges are smooth all the way around, and of course these outer cockpit edges will accommodate a skirt if you can find one. I don't think you can, but they do have a tiny little lip there, not much. And anyway, that's it. Sundolphin, like it or not, that's the kayak. Good luck, and I hope I did some good here for you. Okay.